We all know what graceful athletic movement looks like in sport, and I'm sure we all want our athletes to possess it. But is it something that you can train? Is it something that you can develop in your practices or in a workout session? I believe you can, and I believe that there's a lot of things that are already being done in practices that can just be tweaked a little bit with an emphasis on more athletic movement. And a big piece I want to talk about today is fluid hips. So an athlete that can turn their hips without having to turn their whole body is more effective in doing things in baseball and softball, like turning and tracking fly balls. But more importantly and more commonly, you see this as defensive players are turning and defending. So a player crosses in front of them in football, soccer, lacrosse, ice hockey, you name it, almost any team sport. The ability to turn one way, spin your hips, and go the other way is everywhere in the defensive side of sport. You also see it in quick changes of play when a ball or a puck or whatever goes from one end of the field to the other or one end of the ice to the other rapidly. Players have to go straight from one direction to the other, and that all requires fluid hips. So what I'm going to do today is give you 3 drills. Some you may already be using, some just might be tweaks to try to help you get your players to be more athletic and be more fluid with their hip movement. The first is karaoke. So a lot of teams are using karaoke in their warm-ups. I would say that that's a good idea, but with an emphasis on hip rotation. So I'm going to show you here is if an athlete is crossing in front and crossing behind, but their hips are always facing forward, they're not getting that rotation in their lower half. The idea of the karaoke is that I keep my shoulders fixed and my lower body turns. So as they're doing this, just be mindful that their hips want to turn one way, and then their hips want to turn the other way, but their shoulders should stay basically fixed as they're doing that drill. So it's more of an emphasis on hip rotation than it is anything else. I can take that up one level and do an agility ladder. So by using the ladder, I have to get my hips to swivel tightly or I'm going to miss the squares. So what I want to do here is the same concept as karaoke anywhere else. I cross in front, I cross behind, but I have to hit the squares, and the only way I do that is by getting my hips to rotate quite a bit. So karaoke, regular or through the agility ladder, first couple drills that you can use in practices with big groups. Another one is just a quick hip turn. So now, picture I'm a defender and I need to turn my hips one way or the other. I want to keep my shoulders fixed forward, lower body turn. So on coaches go, I snap my hips around and I come right back, keeping my shoulders fixed. I can elevate that to a turn and then sprint out. So I would turn one way, rapidly spin and retreat the other way. So on the coaches go, I would turn, spin, and go right through. So simple exercises that you can use to help your athletes play more fluidly and more athletic during competition.